I want to say that this is going to be a jam-packed day when it comes to candidates running for public office. Jack Johnson joining us in studio this morning. Actually, he knows how to get here. He's been here before, and before I even came here, he used to be a regular on air, and that's, of course, because of his other work with the Jerome County Sheriff's Department. But first of all, welcome back.
Thank you, Bill. It's a pleasure to be here.
We should point out, though, you're a Twin Falls County resident, and which is really why you're here today at this point.
Yes, sir. Yep. I live out by Murtaugh in the far east end of the county, and I'm running for District 3 County Commissioner this year.
I was going to say you have a long commute back and forth to work.
It's really nice, though. On the way in, it gives you time to get your thoughts put together. On the way home, and lets you unwind a little bit.
We've got so many people, and I was just telling Mary Bello as she was leaving the studio that we didn't see a lot of challengers on the level for U.S. Senate or Congress, which I thought was going to happen this year because of the national mood. Mm-hmm. But even the other day, I was talking with Steve Millington, and he was saying that a lot of Republicans have been very surprised by just the volume, the total volume of people who are running county races as well as in the state legislative races this year. It tells us, I think, that rippling effect that's coming from the national level is taking place here as well, and that people feel we need some change.
I believe you're right. I initially was approached by residents on my end of the county and said, would you consider doing this? We don't feel we get the representation that we should be getting. And so, that's kind of what initially started the ball rolling on it. And it does. There's a lot of people, it seems like, jumping into races from all facets, Democrat, Independent, Republican. There's a good mix of people jumping in this time.
District 3, I mean, you encompass, as you say, a part of of course, you represent the entire county, but
correct.
You're running against all these people sitting on this county commission right now are almost institutions. They've been there for a long time. That power of incumbency, of course, is always part of this and the like. But do you get a sense that when you're out there campaigning and you're talking to people that they're ready for a change, that they think it's time to move some of those people out, whether or not they like the work they're doing?
Definitely. I've talked to so many people from the east end of the county to the west end. I've been all over the county, and a lot of people, what's really intriguing to me is we have a lot of people that don't know who our local elected representatives are. And I'm sorry, I think that's a little bit of a problem. I think the taxpayers are our investors. You sign our paycheck. You should know who we are. We
Mm-hmm.
should be in the community enough that you know who we are. You can put a face to a name. You can approach us and talk to us about issues that are important to you and important to your community.
After a career in law enforcement, you probably get a closer look at how government works than most people do. And one of the charges against this Twin Falls County Commission has been, I mentioned it to Benito Baeza one day, you don't get a lot of news out of there. And Benito said, well, that's because the charge that has been made by opponents and other people in the community is they keep a tight lid on things, and that maybe we should have a more open county government. Do you think that would you agree with that?
I definitely agree with it. I think we need to be transparent in what we're doing. We're utilizing our citizens' tax dollars to operate our county, and we need to be transparent with that. We need to be transparent with our decision making. There shouldn't be hidden agendas. There shouldn't be backroom deals. I'm not saying that's going on because I don't have firsthand knowledge of that. But if it is, we shouldn't have that going on. We have enough of that at the national level. We don't need it at our local level if it's happening. So, we need to be transparent. We need to be involved. I will be involved. And when I say I will be involved, it won't just be on election years. It'll be throughout the term of office.
The last time we talked, you were here for a charitable cause. So when you say be involved, I mean, I think that you'd like to be out there and be visible like that in the community when things are going on.
Correct. Yeah. There's a couple of different types of involvement. All of your elected officials are appointed to different boards that they sit on and interact with, and that's part of your job. I think the other involvement is your volunteer in the community and what you do, the things that the job doesn't make you do, okay, that you're not appointed to because of the job. I think you need to be involved, whether that's with scouting or coaching or Special Olympics or whatever different causes you have out there that are important to you in the community. You need to be involved in that, in those activities.
I was thinking our last guest. I asked her if almost like a job interview. What is your background? Because people will invariably, if they don't know you yet, they'll ask you that when they meet you, and you know they don't mind hearing about your political views and the like, but then they want to know a little bit about who is Jack Johnson.
Right, and that's extremely important. I have almost 32 years of public service, Bill. I've been married to my lovely bride. Boy, I can't say this wrong on the radio, can I? I believe September of this year will be 30 years we've been married. I have 15 years in leadership and public agency administration. I've been involved with multiple activities throughout my career, whether it's coaching, Boy Scouts, Optimist, Cattle Association, Special Olympics. I've helped build a skate park in Jerome and helped sit on that committee and raise money for it and different projects. I'm dedicated to public service. I've been a public servant for 32 years. I understand how the budget works. I understand how to interact with people. I'm a good listener. I want to listen to our people and hear what they have to say. We may not agree on everything, but everybody has a right to voice their opinion. And you know what? The In my career, it doesn't matter what rank somebody is in law enforcement. The people at the top don't always know all the answers, and we get some very good insight and problem solving from people a lot further down the ladder. And I say that just because everybody's voice is important, regardless of station.
Our guest, Johnson, is running for County Commissioner District 3 in Twin Falls County. It's coming up on 14 minutes after 9 o'clock in 40 right now. Bill Colley with you as well on News Radio 1310 KLIX and newsradio1310.com. While you're hearing a lot of reaction from people while you're campaigning, from your perspective, what is the biggest issue in Twin Falls County that we need to address right now?
I think there's worry out there. There's always worry about federal government oversight. I haven't heard a specific big issue. There's several small issues. There's an issue over in the Kimberly area with a truck route. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't been able to do a lot of research into that to find out what's going on there. There's always issues with water every year. I'll be attending a meeting next year on water, or next week, I'm sorry, on water forecast. And, I think it's probably going to be positive this year, but there's always a problem there. There's problems with the aquifer, people worrying about that. And I think that's a genuine concern. Um, job growth isn't a problem. However, workforce, I think, is becoming a problem in the Magic Valley. We have a lot of business, a lot of industries, and I think people are having a hard time filling positions for lack of workforce or lack of people wanting to work, one of the two. Um, I don't know of a specific single issue out there.
We've got a telephone caller looking to reach you. And caller, you're on the air with Jack Johnson, candidate challenging for county commission in Twin Falls County. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm curious, how do you feel about Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 with the overreach of the EPA in taking the water from the people and controlling the water? I'll listen online.
Yeah, I think we need to be, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't done a lot of research into that. I have heard of it. Anytime the EPA is involved with our water resources, we need to be careful in how we deal with that. We're an ag-based economy in southern Idaho, and I have an ag-based background besides my career in law enforcement. And water is always a concern. As far as the EPA coming in, there's some absolute nightmare stories out there that have happened with the EPA and with agriculture and business. It's got to the point we can't even in law enforcement, we can't even do open burns now. We harvested over 9,000 marijuana plants a few years ago, and we can't burn those because of EPA regulations.
There are a lot of kids standing downwind, right?
Yeah, so we have to dispose of things differently. And I think we need to be constantly monitoring those new regulations that are out there.
I want to thank him for the telephone call and that water issue, because the growth, and I was talking to a real estate agent about it on the air yesterday. The growth here has been, there are probably places that have grown faster. Scottsdale, Arizona was one of those 20 years ago. but still, I mean, it is. I was driving back from a concert in Jackpot over the weekend, and it was dark out. And when you suddenly see the sprawl of the lights in Twin Falls, and it's not necessarily sprawl like you see in some areas, but you realize it is spread out, and it's only going to be more. There's going to be more and more and more of that, and it is somewhat of a dry place.
It is, and the Idaho Power projections on population, which are pretty accurate, they've been pretty accurate over the years, are putting us at the year 2025 at about 18,000 to 20,000 new residents in Twin Falls County. So in 9 years, we're looking at almost 20,000 more people probably moving into our area. That's a huge increase, and we as a county need to look forward vision, have a forward vision. I'm sorry, looking at that to plan for that growth and have a strong strategic plan to help deal with that.
And of course, the other part of that, in your public safety background, we've got about a minute and a half to go here, is that as the population grows, obviously you're going to see it's pretty much I call it crime free. It's not, but I mean you could say that it's pretty calm. But the more crowded it gets, there are going to be a lot more other issues, traffic issues, some crime issues, and the like. All of those really have to be addressed too.
They do, and we've got to look at our emergency services, fire, EMS, and law enforcement to accommodate those needs as well. We have a huge drug problem in this valley. With drugs come theft and burglaries and home invasions and everything else. And, we need to be prepared to that. We're going to have to watch our budget. I'm a big conservative, but sometimes we have to spend money to protect our community also, and we may have to look at some areas so that we can provide that protection adequately.
People who'd like to know more about your campaign, you got a Facebook presence, right?
I do. Jack Johnson for Twin Falls Commissioner on Facebook. I've got a website, Jack Johnson for TwinFallsCommissioner.com. Please look me up. My email's on there, contact information. Signs are in. They're ready to go out. So, I would like people to remember me May 17th. I'm ready for some change in our county.
Got to point out, too, that our guest is also a dog lover, which you'll find out online, too, as well.
Yeah, I love, we have 3 dogs. And one of them's a stray we adopted. She's a big old Rottweiler that just is just a cuddle bear, and 2 corgis, which I was never a guy that wanted a corgi, but I'll tell you what, they've grown on me. I love them to death. So
a little like the English royal family.
I don't know about that.
The Queen's a big lover of corgis.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
She's got several.
Yeah.
Well, want to thank you for coming by. We may have an opportunity to talk again before May 17th. I look forward to that. And we want to point out, too, got a break coming up shortly. Got a couple of cultural issues to talk about before the end of the program today and impacting your religious faith as well. Call it 39 right now. It's still hovering around that 40-degree mark this morning. You're listening to News Radio 1310 KLIX and NewsRadio1310.com.